The
The
natives,
natives,
Yep.
the
natives, the
Africans
Africans
spread
spread
from
from
bases
bases
of
of
Mount
Mount
Axel
Axel
very far
very
towards the
far
south.
towards the south.
This mountain
This mountain
then was
then was
temporary a
temporary a
navigation
navigation
that way
that way
hereafter
hereafter
because hold on, is that
because hold on,
because
is that
yeah
because yeah
because
because
You got them weird letters misplaced. Remember, it's got like the first
right,
and.
there about
there
Mm-hmm.
a
about
long
a
ridge
long
or
ridge
shelf
or shelf
of
of
sand
sand
thrust
thrust
its point
its
under
point
the
under the
shallow
shallow
waters
waters
so
so
far out
far
into the
out into
ocean
the ocean
that
that
none
none
dareth
dareth
venture to
venture to
sail
sail
into.
into.
This says
This says
a
the
say or
assault,
assault. I
or
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I think it maybe means the
Being
ocean.
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I
it
was
might
gonna
mean
say it
the
might mean
Yep.
the
ocean.
ocean.
Then it
Then
says
it says
being out of the
being out of the
first
first,
no being
no,
out of
being
sight
out
of
of sight of
land
land
to double.
to
Okay,
double.
there we
Okay,
go.
there
There
we
we
go.
go.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay, where was I at? Being out of sight of land to double this Concord Cape. The first that attempted to find deep water and get around about discovering several unknown coasts. I keep forgetting that F look like it's a S, is really a S, and uninhabited islands belonging to the region where famous godfather Tryphon Versus and Aegidius Amanus, amongst which were the Madeiras and the St. George de Pico, which Prince Henry V planted with Portuguese, and others since with Netherlanders. It says Netherlanders, yeah. He also obtained a grant from Pope Martin V of all the discovered territorial east eastward from the Canaries, forever to be endowed right and belonging to the crown of Portugal. After Henry's decease, okay, right there, okay. After Henry's decease, Anno 1460, the Bissos of navigations and discoveries of new countries neglected because King Alferno turmoil, it says turmoil, turmoiled, whatever, in
In
civil
Civil
war.
War,
His crown began being at stake. He had not leisure to that, well, to think or look afar uncertain improvements by sea. Yet at last, having quelled his enemies, he ventured forth from a ship who sailed as far as the river Zinga and came to an anchor before the city of Guinea, famous famous since for famous for famous since for trade. Okay, which gave its determination to the country and coast of Guinea. Were were they dealing bartered? Yeah, bartered for ivory, gold, silk with gold slaves. Also got so much footing into the country that suddenly rised up before a man with a strong Garian shipping their slaves for Libya. I can barely, man, this
this
stuff is
stuff is
small as
It's
small as
heck.
hell.
it's crazy. You want let me read some, bro. It is a little frustrating too. It's small. Then these words twisted. You got to try to figure out and read with your eyes what it's saying because the letters all twisted up. Man, I know, bro. Okay, hold on. Let me get to it. Let me see. Where did you leave off at? John on Lisbon. Okay, up here somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
the anchor in the city of Guinea. Okay, famous since the trade, which gave its denomination to the country and coast of Guinea, where they dealing back barred for ivory, gold, and slaves, and also got so much footing into the country that they suddenly raised up a fort. And dang, and they said, oh, we in here now, we might as well get ready and just get grounded. Ain't that something? And mandated it with a strong garrison shipping their slaves from Lisbon for Lisbon. So they were shipping the slaves for Lisbon. So I guess that is Lisbon. I wonder if that's Libyan. If they're talking about in Libyan, in Libya or whatever. It says John the
yeah,
Second
that's Libya.
succeeding. That's what they talking about, right? Okay, that's what I figured. John II succeeded his father Alfonso and had a great design upon the Arabia and India, and is possible was ambitious to open a passage from the Atlantic to the Oriental seas. But the difficulty lay in steering so often from sight of land, venturing into the main ocean, obstructed by so many dangerous shores. Yeah, I think that would be shores that lay so far out into the ocean. At that time, flourished three famous mathematicians, Roderick, Joseph, and Martin Bohemus, pupils bred up by Johannes Montargis, with which the king consulted and persuaded that they would be their art invent some instrument that by southern constellations, the pole being depressed, the navigation might know where he was and in what height. So guessing what distance they were from this or that country, they accordingly clubbed learning. I don't even know what that is trying to say, and I'm not gonna think. And by their great study, found out what since had proved so useful and beneficial to seamen, the astrabo, the astrathal, which helped have obtained the sailors encouraged more frequently ventured into remote and unknown seas. Damn, this shit hard to read. After these, King John of Portugal sent Jack Conny with a fleet whose sailing found the river Zaris, where he created a pillar with its inscription laden in Portuguese, I'm thinking, signifying by whom and in what king's reign their African coasts were discovered. Here he also met some of the natives who were civilized than the rest, told him that they had a mighty king who reigning over them kept his court some few days' journey up in the country, to whom Kano, sending his agents, detained 4 African as pledges. So I'm guessing as slaves, which he carried with their free consent to Portugal, promising to bring them back. What you say, bro?
I said that's collateral.
Collateral, right? Promising to bring them back in 15 months. God dang, that's a long time. Who before that time, having got some smatterings, some smatterings of their tongue, informed them. Okay, I guess they mean gossiping, that their native soil, smashing of the tongue. So just talking, basically.
No, basically holding tongue out, hit it with a hammer.
Oh snap! Oh, having got some smashing of their tongue. Oh Lord. Informed them that their native soil was called Congo. So they came and told them. This is the part that tripped me out. I think earlier in the or later on in this book, something I was reading, it's like they keep everywhere they go. Oh, this place is this. They telling these people this is what this is. This y'all land, but this is what y'all land called. This is what we. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm seeing. In most of this.
Yeah, you got to remember that book is less than 150 years ago.
Mm-hmm. This time about the remarkable passage of Jack A. Cano or somebody. They're whither returning by the appointed time, they were according to their agreement exchanged for Portugal, and Cano addressed himself with the rich presents to their king, whom he found fitting in their manner of the ivory throne. The ivory throne, being from the middle, upward naked, so basically bare chest, his nether parts covered with long silken skirts, a golden armlet on his left arm. So he describing the native chief. Artwork, his shoulder hung a horse's tail, their badge of royal dignity. Kano humbly laid the presents down at the king's feet, amongst which was a gilded flag, or pennon with a cross, which Pope, this the part that tripped me out, which Pope Innocent the Eighth had consecrated. Check this. Oh man, this the part that messed my head up. Because it just clarifies how they keep doing this shit everywhere they damn go. They come with a Bible and a damn prayer after a seance and some damn ritual shit they done did and put some shit on. Because that's what this sounds like to me. So check this out. It says, their badge of royal dignity. Kano humbly laid the presents down at the king's feet, amongst which was a gilded flag, a pennon with a cross, which the Pope Innocent the Eighth had consecrated with great ceremony. Did y'all hear that? The Pope Innocent the Eighth had consecrated with great ceremony. What do you do? That part right there. Let me shut up my chat. What's up, chat?
You know what?
What's up? I see y'all chat. Go ahead, bro, real quick. I want to make sure I see everybody. I was reading. I didn't see you guys, but y'all already know y'all everything. What's up? What's up? Go ahead, bro. What you was going to say about it?
The thing is, white Bible is not the same as the King James Version. Just the moment. I ain't talking about the New International Version. None of that shit. I'm talking about just the Catholic Bible itself is not even close to the same as the Torah, right?
Yeah.
So when they got into these and pretended to keep all of this not being the black folks, so they call it dark folks, right? They came with their own institutionalized program. You know. So I'm in 828, and we finna read that.
Okay. All right, and it says, okay, it says, after this, many of that nation became Christians, and the king himself received baptism. They came over here as soon as they came with this consecrated piece of stuff from this pope, and they, after he done did this great ceremony, they come over there with all these little gifts, and then they bring them, tell them, this is your land is called the Congo, you guys are in the Congo, and this is what you need to do, you got to follow this book, you got to follow this religion, here it is, this is a consecration from our pope, he's telling you everything, he's the king over all kings, because listen, this Bible, it tells you to follow, blah, 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 blah. We know the story. So this is the part that tripped me out. After this, many of the nations became Christians, and the king himself received the baptism. He let these people baptize and put them under that Christos, the nis, the dip, all of the stuff that is the outer of self, which is, the tampering part, that anything that can be manipulated, that hollow space, I call it. But in short time, by the instigations of their diabolical priests, and others, the Christianity losing ground grew out of consonance. So in the Congo, they said, wait a minute, it started to grow out of consonance. They didn't believe it as much. It was wearing out, I guess. Meanwhile, King John II vigorously procured the benefits of discovery, sending Jews and Christians, listen to this, sending Jews and Christians by land from Alexandria and other parts of Egypt to India, and from thence to explore the coast on the eastern side of Africa to the Great Cape. If so, away might be found fit for navigators, having doubled that point to traffic with the oriental parts of the world. So basically, they were doubling back. We know Africa, all that was kind of in the same area. Blah 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 blah. What do you have to say about that, bro? This is this is the area they were going into, which was some of that like Genghis Khan. And is this kind of that area you thinking they're talking about, or what do you think about that, bro?
Consecrate
Consecrate
after
Uh oh.
1828.
1828.
Say that again.
Consecrate
Consecrate
is right here, right?
is
It
right here,
says
right? It says
consecrate. It's to
consecrate.
set apart as
It's to
holy,
set apart as
devote to
holy,
religious
devote
use.
to religious use.
Number two,
Number two,
to devote,
to devote,
dedicate as
dedicate as
he
he
consecrated his life
consecrated
to
his
art.
life to art.
Number three,
Number three,
cause to be
cause to be
revered
revered
hollow.
hollow.
So when they got here,
So
they
when they
went
got
straight to our
here,
high
they
priest and
went
shit,
straight
and
to
they,
our
they
high
wanted to
priest and
get
shit, and
blessed.
they wanted to get blessed.
So you're saying they wanted to get blessed.
Yes, they already
Yes,
knew they was
they
coming
already
to see the
knew they
God.
was coming to see the God.
That's why when you read that word
That's why when you read
consecrate,
that
I
word
like I read
consecrate,
that
I
verse
like I
before.
read it before.
Mm. Dang, I think I'm not. I'm not. Say that again, bro. Let me mute for a second. I think I'm doing a little echo. Say that again.
All right. That's why when I heard the word consecrate, I heard that word before, and I knew it was tied to foreigners coming to get something done, and that's why I went back and put it up in the 1868, the 1828 Noah Webster dictionary, and it means for someone of holy to devote their life to a form of art. So when they were coming here, they were coming to see the Ma'urus, the M-U apostrophe U-R, the high priest, the presters. And when they got here and realized they did find the land of the gods, and by just, what I'm saying, them running across islands, seeing tribes of people that wore garments of gold, they knew that they had touched the Holy Land. Go ahead.
Yes, and when you say that, brother, takes me back a couple of weeks ago. Remember the bill we did, and I was talking about the arts. It was saying all these things about the arts, and I'm like, all this stuff ties back to them painting a picture, basically a whole story, history, religion. All this stuff is painting an artistic story in a person's mind, so that they are encased basically in all these different things. And that is what you just said now kind of confirms the same thing too to me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says after these, I fast forward a little bit, guys. I'm gonna go to something else, not something else, but the same thing, just a little bit. It says after these, King John of Portugal sent Jack Cano with the fleet, whose sailing found the river Zares, where he created a pillar with an inscription Latin. Wait a minute, I think I went to the wrong part. Hold on. I know the large inscriptions. Something I want to read to y'all. I meant to the wrong page. Dang it. Hold on a second. Okay. All into last part. Great. Da, 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 da. Okay, the new time about this newfound land. I think this is it. Okay, so, but how could okay, it was talking about the Carthaginians. I've heard that before. Off topic, bro. I've heard that word, but I'm not familiar. Do you know what that is? Off topic, the Carthaginians, because I remember hearing that before.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Carthaginians,
Carthaginians.
they got a lot of jewels, and that's why a lot of their territory in northeast Africa was destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And like all of that Egypt talk being Egypt over there, they knew the truth when they came to America. That's why they destroyed a lot of the Carthaginians' information. But on top of that, the Carthaginians is also the ones that put that treaty in place to protect America up until the 1700s with a maritime treaty law. And so no country could come as, boatloads of people to inhabit America until 1700. So that's why all that Christopher Columbus conversation does not exist and was fake from the beginning.
So this book is also basically a part of that artwork. It's like trying to so-called tell a story, but pushing a fake narrative as well. Because it says, okay, because it says, but how could the Carthaginians find America? So basically, they're saying that's not true. That's a lie about them finding America within the use of the compass. How happened it that they were so taken with the fertility of this their newfound land, with the adjacent countries and the fields about the Carthage are everywhere flourishing and most luxuriously. Mm. So that
right there. Hold on.
I went over. Hold on. What did I do? I hate when I do that. Go ahead, bro.
Now, Pete,
man.
Oh, but yes, still giving.
I guess you still got one of your springs on,
or your mic on the mic,
or your mic on the mic and the Bluetooth or something.
I'm gonna mute real quick. I'm gonna find the page. I just hit the thing. Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead and say what you was gonna say. I'm gonna get to it.
I'm gonna break this down real quick. Like I was just speaking of. They put in place a maritime treaty to protect the land that they seen as heaven when they got here. They came as guests, and they came way before that story of Chris. That's why the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the Irish, and not the Irish, but the Italians and all of these motherfuckers over there in that area of Africa decided to come up with this Christopher Columbus comic book, because they had to contradict what the Carthaginians came as visitors during a trade, you know what I'm saying, as guests and seen. So them coming here in a group of 10, 12 motherfuckers, on a high level, which they powerful people. They came as guests, and they were able to be here for 30, 50 days in America, and then able to go up the waterways to different cities that existed. They talk about how the islands themselves, cities, were almost as big as the whole city in the country of Spain. Then they also talked about how them being able to get up into Shalaka, which we know as Chicago today, Shalaga, whatever you would call that. When they wrote about that, they knew that they had entered the presence of the Holy Land. So they wrote about it and they talked about it in all their dialogues. They got destroyed. But that book right there is just exposing how they mad and jealous about them writing about it before they even knew anything about this land and only heard stories to make books off of. So a lot of our people finding these historical books, a lot of the historical books is influenced by people that never ever seen America. Go ahead, sis.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. That's crazy. How, like you said, it's showing it. And something else when it gets further along. I don't know if we're gonna get that farther in the book, guys, but it talks about it. To me, it confirms a lot of the Bible stuff, like the information and Adam and all this other stuff. It says, there's the prince who promised us before, divine Augustus Caesar, who once more shall golden days bring to the Asocian land, kingdoms that once held Saturn did command, and shall his power to India extend beyond the annual circle and beyond the sun's long progress, where great Atlas bears laden with golden stars.
Stop.
Now,
what are these people telling you? Go back and read that from the beginning.
My people. I'm gonna tell y'all this. What we know as the Midwest is India superior.
India superior.
So When she go
So
back and
when she
read
go
this,
back and read
y'all
this,
listen to what
y'all
they're
listen to what
saying.
they're saying.
It said there's the prince, ost promised us before, divine Augustus Caesar, who once more shall golden days bring to the Atantian land, kingdoms that once old Saturn did command, and shall his power to India extend, beyond the annual circle, and beyond the sun's long progress, where great Atlas bears laden with golden stars and glistening spears.
Now,
Now
that book
that
just
book
confirms
just
what I
confirms
just said.
what I just said.
Like we all know that it's five. It's the in the Great Lakes is five great seas, and Lake Superior is one of the great seas, and that was the docking and trading and bartering location to get to the Atlantic Ocean for the India Superior people. Go ahead, sis.
Okay. So it says, but what of all this? Who finds in any of these writings any marks of America, or the least description thereof? Though we cannot deny that the ancient sages and wise philosophers of former times might easily make out, and no question did, that the earth and sea made the perfect figure of a globe, first from the round shadow of the earth that eclipsed the moon, the different risings and settings of the celestial luminaries, and the still variation of the pole, so that the earth and sea, making one ball, they might easily conjecture that the south side of the equinoctial might be inhabited as well as the north. But all this was more grounded upon the natural season and right judgment than any experience of theirs, or the least certain. This is crazy because this is a conversation that was had on Hawk earlier, ain't it, bro? This part right here, that's crazy. The least certain knowledge thereof, which since these latter times had the first happiness to obtain, so laying these conjectures aside, there have been none more grossly erroneous and so utterly mistaken in this point than some of the ancients, and especially the fathers of the church. Lac, Lac, Lactantius, Firmianus, and Saint Austin, who strangely geared at as ridiculous and not thinking fit for a serious answer the foolish opinion of antipodes, or another habitable world beyond the equator, at which Lactantius Drollus says, what so what forsooth, maybe forsooth, here is a fine opinion broached indeed. In antipodes, high day, people whose feet thread with ours and walk foot to foot with ours, their heads downward, and yet drop not into the sky. There, yes, very likely the trees loaden with fruit, grown downwards, and in rains, hails, and snow upwards. The roofs, the spires, and the cities, tops of mountains, and points at the sky beneath them, and the rivers reversed, the tips topsy turvy, ready to flow into the air out of their channels. Boy, this is just kind of something else. Let's see. Hold on.
And see, they describing the ancient land here before they came and poisoned the energy. How water
Right.
and all of that, we had all kind of energy floating through the. See, what people don't know that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5G energy and all of this internet, this is actual just levels of being in the realm. When you get to a 3G, it's just pretty much being like 30 feet up, and you got connection to that energy. So you can have free internet and all of this naturally, free energy, free all of that. All of that is just floating. It's naturally there.
Right. And we are being like basically it's just hidden from us. So we're not able to get into just crazy. Oh gosh. Okay. It was something it was saying about the tribes I wanted to read. Where is that? Let me see. Actually I can get into something else, bro, if
Hold
you
on,
wanted to. This is kind of
sis.
open panel. Huh?
This nigga Free Paw, he gotta be an agent. I mean, like literally, gotta be an agent.
What
He just gotta be a motherfucker agent because this he seems like every channel over here in our community, this nigga pops up and then just want to just slander information, motherfucker sharing. Yo, dumb ass need to get up on this panel and let's talk. Because honestly, I don't like motherfuckers that sit in sideline coach and shit and don't get on panels and build with motherfuckers. Like everybody in our community with knowledge that share shit, we get on panels and build. So you talking about Lake Superior is not a sea. You got to be the dumbest motherfucker to ever say some dumb shit out your mouth. Because first of all, a lake is surrounded by basically land. It's an enclosed body of water, you dumbass boy. So Lake Michigan is a sea. Lake Superior is a sea. Lake Huron, Lake Erie, all of these are seas because they're connected to the Atlantic Ocean, you dumbass boy. But go ahead, sis.
too much. It always got to be some kind of something to add on. Let's see. Let me see. I was trying to find. I think I may have been in the other book. Okay, of the original of the Americans, whence they came, when, how, and from the people planet. Let's check this out. This may be it. Okay, about the original of the Americans. The Lear dispute so much that they find nothing more difficult in story than to clear that point. For whether inquiry be made after the time then the Americans first settled themselves, were they now inhabited, or after that manner, then they came. They then came thither, either by shipping or by land, on purpose or accidentally driven by storm. What the what the hell? What? Am I reading this wrong? What are they talking about? It said accident. I gotta go back because this. Hold on. To clear the point, for whether inquiry be made after the time when the Americans first settled themselves, where they now inhabit, or after what manner they came thither, either by shipping or by land, on purpose or accidentally, driven by storm, or else forced by a more powerful people to remove. What the heck? That's not making sense to me. Let me see. Let's get to the next page because, yeah. What they even talking about? They acting like these people just came out the sky. Are they talking about? The people that came, that so-called settled on Plymouth Rock? Are they talking about the people that were here? That part I'm confused with. From their old plantations and seek for new. Or if anyone should be yet more curious, asking and why they directed them out of another country, okay, to the new world. It's talking about them. Or else inquire for those people from whom the Americans derived themselves. So they're trying to implicate the Americans came from somewhere else and came to America too. He will find several opinions and the learned still jaggling. What do you think about that, bro? What are they trying to implicate? Are they trying to say like nobody was here? It was a abandoned land and people came? Because that's kind of what it sounds like to me. What it sound like it's saying?
It sounded like they actually writing to be contradicting something. And see, I'm listening to what you're reading, and I'm like, who are they trying to point out? For some reason, I'm hearing like they actually are trying to contradict somebody else's information. Like I was saying earlier, when they had like pretty much threw the Carthaginians in front of the bus, you kind of knew right then and there that some of this information is going to be kind of pointing at somebody else's information.
Right. Because it was like at first it sounded like it was saying one thing, then it was like, oh, okay, no, it's talking about them. So yeah, it was kind of like throwing me off a bit. Okay, let's get back to this real quick. Because yeah, let's see. All right. The first doubt is concerning the time. Okay. Mr. Perkus, wherever he had the hint, endeavors to prove the America hath been but lately planted, for which he thus argued. So he tried to say that it was something new, it just got there, and something else, blah blah blah. There's somebody else that must have been trying to disprove certain things. That if Asia or Europe furnished America with people, oh my lord.
See, here comes the
Wait a
hijack. Here he come.
Are you serious? Wait a minute. Okay, so if implanted America with people, Abram's time, or at least before the birth of our Savior, then it must, upon necessity, by the expiration of so many ages, have been much more populous than the Spaniards found when first they discovered this. So they're saying they're going back to this is the second discovery,
Yeah, hold on,
obviously.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, that last line you just read, right? It
Mm-hmm.
confirms what I just said before you kept reading. Now they're going, they're protecting this Spanish and Christopher Columbus story, which they wrote on purposely to predate the real actual visit from conquistadors. So read
Right,
that last line, they just was pretty much agreeing with, yeah, the Spanish said this. So
right.
they
Okay, yep. It says that if Asia or Europe furnished America with people in Abram's time, or at least before the birth of our Savior. So this also confirms what I was just saying about this story. Here go the confirmation. So they're in play. Here, you see this Abram's time. So they're talking about the Abram in the Bible, obviously. So
right,
now
Abram.
So they trying to so this is all the implication story, the birth of the Savior. So this is the implemented story to confirm some of this stuff, putting that in there with the religion. Because remember earlier in the book, it said how they came with the Pope's consecration and da da da, all that artwork in the mind.
Yeah, they wanted to get consecrated as soon as they got here. Like, hold on, how was y'all high priest over there when y'all coming to get blessed over here?
Oh, here I did it again. Wait a minute. I keep doing that, trying to highlight something. Hold on, hold on.
That's
This
like a
is
preacher going to the usher and tell him, "Hey, baptize
okay.
me
Hold
with
on.
your word."
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I went back two times. Okay, here it go. Here it is. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. Um. Okay, I went past this. I hate when I do it. Now I lost my spot. One page up again.
Yeah, you was
Let's
right
see.
there, but you was
This
up a
one.
little bit.
I was right here.
Oh damn, you switching over.
Okay. Dang, I switched again. I think I'm on the delay. Hold on, bro. So I got to go back one, right? Yep. Okay, let me see. Yep, that's it. I think that's it, right? Okay. I was on the next page, so I think. Damn, where am I? Man, I'm like totally lost. This is not it. Okay, it had to be in this page. The Greeks having also some okay. Okay, this is it. Okay. I'm at it. I'm at it. Okay, it says without the use according to the field with the cartridge or we just read this part, then I read that. So I was over in here in this last part. Okay. Um I don't think I read this. Let me read this. But what of all this? Who finds in any of these writings any marks of the Americans that left the deception thereof? Okay, this is it. Though we cannot deny that the ancient passages and the wise philosophers of former times might easily make out, da da da. The earth and the sea made. Okay, I did read that. Conjecture, decide, but all of this was more grounded upon the natural reason and right judgment than any experience of theirs, or the least certain knowledge thereof, which since their later times had the first happiness to obtain. So laying their conjectures aside, there have been none more grossly erroneous and so utterly mistaken at this point than some of the ancients and da 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 da. Okay, so I did read that. Hold on, guys. All right, I'm going like way back. I think I was over here. Okay, yeah, I think it's over here. Okay, toward the center. Da 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 da. Okay, we're talking about the snow and all this other nonsense. Ah, to the natural propensity. I want to reach out stuff when I need to really read. I'm trying to get to points real quick. Hold on 1 second. Python. Okay. Okay, let me go. I think this is actually the part. This is talking about like the skies and where I was trying to find the part where they were talking about all this Bible stuff. Hold on, y'all. Let me get to this real quick. Tyrants first only have to steer the
I
control
was
the
gonna
North
say I think
Star
it's
and
at the
when
top.
at the top of this page right here.
Yeah, it's
Of
closer up there.
the okay, let's see. It's talking about okay, the king of Egypt, who upon pieces of timber conjoined and braced together crept along the shores, ventured to discover the isles in the Red Sea. But okay, so this is talking about this Red Sea. For some reason, all this stuff keep making me think about the stories they're talking about is the Bible. For some reason, is any of this making sense to you, bro? Are you familiar with any of this stuff they're talking about? Because it sounds like they're like talking about Bible stories, and then it's just
what
reminding me of
they're
all.
doing is they're describing biblical locations and trying to compare them, and they actually are speaking on things that they can actually see. So, like, I asked one of the brothers a while back. I was like, it's a nigga named Ron Dalton Jr. He did that from Black to Hebrews, a little movie and shit. It was in Clubhouse. And I had to check him about the information because he kept talking and basically defaming the indigenous American people. So I jumped on the clubhouse and pressed the mic to go up there and question him, and I had to beat him up mentally because he never knew. So while we was in the clubhouse building, I was like, "So look up every Egyptian god that you know that exists." I said, "Write them down as far as you know," and I said, "Take your time, go and look in Africa, see if you'll find a temple for him." He said, "Well, it's a couple temples." I said, "A couple's not what I'm saying." I said, "So now you know that it's a couple temples in Africa." I said, "Go just look at the the Egyptian gods' temples. Look up every Osiris, Isis, all of them. Look up their temples in the Grand Canyon." I said, "You'll find them." And while we on the clubhouse, still talking about it, he look it up. He come back in there. "Oh man, damn! I get to learn something." Well, and then he started questioning. Man, I just had to just, he jumped off and shit. But yeah, man, all what they would call biblical, because the word Bible itself is for a new contract. So when you mention the word Bible, you're talking a New Testament or a New Testimony. So, most people say Bible just mean a book of completion. No, it don't. It's a book from Baal. It's by Baal, the actual King Baal that was mentioned in the Old Testament, that was coming into power from Tartar and up in the North High Indies and fucking Caucasus Mountains and shit. These motherfuckers actually existed in those times of some of the Old Testament going into their writings. So I tell people the New Testament is a lot of apology letters and grafting. It's a lot of grafting. Them trying to put their self in.
Right. This part right here, yeah, I got to go back to this because this is talking about some other stuff too. Let me see. It's interesting for me. It said, but although the ancients upon these and like demonstrations well understood that there was a habitable world toward the south under the horizon, yet they could not make out or believe that there was any possibility to pass thither. And according to St. Austin, conceived that the earth produced nothing under either pope by reason of excessive cold, and that the equinox or middle zone was not to be penetrated because of the insufferable heat. The Macrobius faith that the equinoctial circle and the Arctic and the Antarctic lines bind the two habitable zones and make temperatures by the excessive neighboring heats and colds, and these countries only give animation. and comfortable enjoyment to all living creature, gives animation. Moreover, St. Austin in some places seems to clear his own doubts, saying that people, if they could find a means to sail those vast and undiscovered seas, might make land raising new stars under another sky. Hmm, interesting.
That's why they had to rid the Apocrypha. That's why they had to get rid of those chapters, those 14 books,
Hmm.
you know, plus 14. I would say 14 plus. I think it's more than 14. But they had to
Yeah,
get rid of those because, you know, going past the Maccabee into Edris and all of those books, man, it tells us exactly what's going to be coming to our land because we got to also accept this as well. You know how they say you reap what you sow, and because our
yep,
ancestors reaped so much power, we're sowing the issues that came with that power.
right. It said the undiscovered seas might make land, raising new stars under a new sky, breaking the firmament is what that's saying, or breaking it through. What do you call it? What they call them? Dimensions is what I meant to say. A learned father searching after the original of all sorts of beasts, which multiplied by generation, concludes that they must derive themselves from those that were saved with Noah and the ark. Here we go. But how come they to the isles, to those adjacent and near the mainland, they might easily swim to the smarter they were transported. But this doubt is not altogether cleared, for the domestic and other creatures fit the humane use and sustenance were thus brought thither. Yet now comes it to pass that ferocious and wild creatures are also found there, such as wolves, tigers, lions, and other beasts of prey. This puzzles putting Saint Augustine to a stand. He had no other means to get off but by saying that by God's commands or permission, the angels conveyed them thither, is so they might not. God pleased to plant men there in like manner, and the rather the earth being creature for humane use, being created for humane. Lord, this I'm sorry, y'all. This reading sound retarded, and I'm not doing too great right now with it. The earth being created for human use, but what needed this when men can in ships transported themselves either of their own accord for curious inquests to find new countries or else enforced by street stress of weather too far remoter. Oh Lord, I'm so tired of reading this book right now. I want to read it, but this is it's so annoying. So far remoter the altogether unknown lands. Besides, though the earth is here and there divided by land, by large bays and vast seas, yet netherlands in other places, it is all continued land, and at least parted by some narrow inlet or sea. So parted by some type of sea. So, oh Lord, this book is getting a little frustrating. There's some other stuff I wanted to read, but I'm getting a little tongue twisted. Reading out loud is a little harder when reading
Hey,
these words.
hold on, sis. Hey,
Mhm.
man, free Papu or Poopa. I'm gonna start calling you Poo Poo. Free Poo
Poo
Poo.
poo,
Listen, man.
poopa. What
First
he
of
say?
all, when you do your motherfucking thorough investigation and stop trying to bite off of others people's information, you'll know what Lake Michigan was originally called. Dumbass nigga. It was called the Northwest Sea. So when you do your information research and find maps before 1600, the so-called Lake Michigan was called the Northwest Sea. So you in the back chat still you even trying to go at women about your dumbass information you never heard. I just told your dumbass a sea is a motherfucking body of water connected to the ocean. Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, all of them are connected, my dude, running into the motherfucking Atlantic Ocean. A lake is a motherfucking body of water that rivers run into. You should have learned that in elementary, you old dumbass nigga. But go ahead, sister.
What's going on, bro? John, we got John in the house. Come in and add something into us. I wish you would have heard some of this stuff earlier, brother. I'm trying to read this crazy book, and man, these words driving me insane. How you doing, bro?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Sorry for the delay. But I'm here now. Yeah, I'm just catching up on everything. So I'm gonna just let y'all, finish what y'all doing, and then I'm gonna get in what I fit in.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, of course. So let's see. I'm trying to see. Maybe we can get to a different part. I want to just cover. Look, it's a lot. It's a lot in here. Let's see. This one is. I'm gonna get to something different here. Let me minimize this.
No, sis, I would rather invite Free Poo Poo up here too because he's so intelligent. He's always in everybody community. Don't get up on the panel. Let's see if he got some
I
information
dropped the
because he's
link
sitting
for
up.
him. Jump up,
Yeah,
bro, if you
yeah,
want
you
to
can
jump
get
up.
up here, Free Poo Poo. Send back there. Peace to the goddess Cherokee. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with you, man. We won't let the men goddamn try to discriminate against the goddamn women around here, man. You stupid as hell, bro. You should research what I just told you. The Northwest Sea. Look it up, nigga.
American Goldsmith. This is going into. Let's see. We can browse and see what we want to look at real quick because this got a lot of little info. Data from known words, unknown, da da da. So this showing them that as they call the savages. Oh, hold on, saying something about the giants over here. Wait a minute, we might have to read this part. What it's saying. Okay, all right, this might be a good one. You want to try to read a little bit more, Zoe? My mouth getting so tongue twisted doing this. I can if you can step in for me for a quick
If you
second.
could pull
Let
it
me
up
just
big
take.
enough, man, because them words is small as hell on the screen. That's why
Okay,
I was reading.
yep.
The first time I was reading, I had my magnifying glass for real.
Okay, that's better. Let's see. Let me see. Let me get to it. Man, they're throwing off with the mistypes, but not mistypes, but the mis letters and Lord.
Okay, it said, steered from a
Oh,
known
let me put on the
world
big
to an
part. Hold on,
unknown.
y'all.
Oh yeah, that's better right there. Yup, that's better. I can matter. And look, since she think of bullshit and says, look at my magnifier right here on the screen.
See? He said still looking low.
And look, niggas talk pseudo shit, nigga. Real life around here, b. Steered from a known world to an unknown with no better accommodation, but some probably reasons may be made out to induce us to believe that they were rather driven thither by storms. But some will say how lived the little boats and how many endured they in such a continual tempest and were not either swallowed up in the mist by the waves or flavered for a want or provision which their hollow throes could not contain. The first doubt is the least, for there are examples unknown by which appear that oftentimes great ships bulging are overset or sunk in the sea by foul weather. Oh, okay, by foul weather, with the mariners escape in their cockboats. Look, leaving everybody on the boat, they dipping out and shit. I'm out of here with the cockboats. Okay, I'm right
Okay.
there. If they were thinly victualed for so long a voyage, questionless, that little which they had, they spun out and made it last, while the impetuous storm shorten the passage, which fair weather would have made much longer. Pliny tells us okay, Pliny tells us of the Annuus Pluncus, Annuus Pluncus, general of the Red Sea, that one of his slaves being enfranchised, sailing down towards the the Arabian Gulf, was carried by the violent tempest for the north beyond Carimania, and in the 15th day came out to an anchor in Hipparus, a haven in Tiberban, which Ortelianus judges to be Sumatra, Sumir. But Mercator and Cluvius on better ground, Zelian, which is no less than 3,000 English miles.
Mm.
And like, man, this shit is hard as hell to read through this. I feel like I'm a real fucking goddamn
Okay,
investigator now.
I'll do it some more, bro. I know it's frustrating. It's just frustrating reading it. Period. Then you trying to read it small. Okay, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, that shit's small as
In
hell on
like
my line.
manner, Joseph de Costa tells us that in 15 days time, he got with the northerly wind from the Canaries to America. Canaries, I wonder if they're talking about Canada. And his voyage had been shorter. Durst he had borne more sails, which may partly clear the former doubts. Moreover, the Peruvians themselves gave some small testimony in their ancient records of a few that landed on old upon the coast, which were, as they say, mighty and cruel giants, committed much bloodshed, slaughtering the natives everywhere. And having subdued the whole country, built slightly. I think that's like built slightly, edify, I feel.
Identify.
Oh my gosh, I feel illiterate reading this stuff. Of
I'm telling
which
you because
remain. Go ahead, bro. What you say?
now look at it like this, right? Most of us in this motherfucking chat and on this call got family that's 6 foot up to almost 7 foot tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you dealing with, they call them Sorrentes, living out in Cali, for years, I learned a lot about height and cubic, what they call cubics, right? So when you
Yeah.
got a motherfucker that's 4'7", most of his people 4'7", and in that area 5'3", then you got a nigga that's 6 and 7 foot tall, and most of their family that tall. Wouldn't them be giants to that little motherfucking group?
Right.
Okay, let's go.
So you saying the giant thing is because they were taller than they little shrimp behinds because they were just little bitty people.
Man, and most of the stories, the first contact with any of the indigenous Americans was considered the chiefs being giants and shit.
And those pictures, remember those pictures a couple of weeks ago? I was showing some of those pictures. I forgot what book Hawk said it was out of. That American, it's another different American book, and it's got the different in what was going on in America, and it's got one. Some of them show they were actual giants, like over the other people. So you don't think that they
Right.
really were some giants?
Those would have been considered more of a Nephilim, or
Okay,
yeah,
that's what.
yeah.
So, all right. They also show New Manto and Puerto Virgo, which obviously Puerto Rico, many huge bones. Okay, many huge bones. They believe of giants, 3 times larger and thicker than any ordinary man's. They also tell us that many ages since one Ica and Africa sailed westward thither upon sea wolf skins, blown up like bladders. Wow. So wait a minute, is they saying they use the skin to blow up like a balloon and actually like sail on the water? That's kind of what that sounds like. Is that what they saying? You hear me, bro? You know what they're saying? Is that if they're saying that they were using the wolf skins and blowing, it says blowing up like bladders, like some type of a sail maybe, or kind of like a hot air balloon type of thing or something.
What they used was a lot of time the stomachs of animals. You know what I'm saying? Even that used to be a good way to carry water and shit. You know what I'm saying? So like
Okay.
motherfuckers got to remember that this land was filled with most animals you find outside of America, elephants, all of that. This land was filled with that shit. So if you got an elephant stomach, guess what? You clean that motherfucker out, sterilize it and shit back before actual like hardened tools and alchemy was manifested here. You got a motherfucking super big bag. Because the stomach itself stretches.
Right. It makes sense. But however, without contradiction, the Americans never knew, much less built any such vessels, with which they they dirt venture their dust venture to the ocean out of the fight of land. Their balfas, perias, and canoes were not all among the bulk of one of our small barges, whereover the inhabitants of Tumbes, when they deciphered or discerned the Spanish fleet sent to discover Peru, were amazed at the high mast, spreading sails. Okay, so yeah, they were using it for the sails, and the bigness of the ship, judging them first to be rocks cast up out of the sea, but observing them to approach their coast. I'm reading so cautiously it sounds bad now, for real. And that they were full of bearded men, thought the gods were walking in them. But wait a minute. And that they were full of bearded men, thought the gods were walking in them, by our modern poet, Dr. Dryan, in his Indian Emperor, thus allegedly described. So I'm not really getting that, but I went to order, sir, to command something. I don't even know what this is talking about. Okay, I ain't gonna read that. Wings on their sides instead of leaves did grow, which gathered all the breath the winds could blow. And at their roots grew floating palaces, whose outblowing bellies cut the yielded seas. Mount what divine monsters of ye gods, monsters, okay. Mount, what divine monsters of ye gods were these that float in air and fly upon the seas? Okay, so they thought the ships was monsters. Come they alive or dead upon the shore? Guide, alas, they live to lure. I hear them roar. All turned their sides and to each other spoke. I saw their words break out in fire and smoke. Sound like they talking about a dragon. Sure, this their voice that thunders from on high, or these the younger brothers of the sky. Deaf with the noise, I took my happy flight. No mortal courage can support the fright. So they said they talking about being scared of these giants. I think is what they're saying. They came in the boats. I don't know. It sounds a little confusing to me. What do y'all think they're saying about that? Because I'm a little kind of not getting it.
Ooh,
Like really not.
hey, hold on 1 second though. I gotta go ahead and fuck with that little
I
troll
ain't
in the
getting it.
back. Free poo poo. You stupid as shit. You ain't no goddamn the motherfucking elephants and shit ain't they did this to America, man. Where the woolly mammoth was found in Canada. Oh damn. We ain't have elephants here, you dumbass. But no, to respond to that sis right there, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. They talking about the motherfucking zephyrs and the cherubims. They just said you read it. They
We
just
didn't
said,
have any
are these the children of the sky? Fire came from their motherfucking mouth and their voice roared. Okay, and then we were just supposed to be covering the what they call that
right. What are
the
they
food.
talking about?
We were just talking. Remember, hold on, we were just talking about the food dog. Remember, I sent you that information on the food dog and them pictures of the food dog, which is a lion dragon.
Yeah.
So now that we know this is they consider this the serpent kingdom.
Mm,
Ah, yes. They just
makes
told you
sense.
exactly how when they were trying to attack this motherfucker, what was happening.
Right. Oh my gosh. And to go back, check this out. Remember the story I was reading about that guy, what's his name? Oh Lord, I forgot his name. The guy that came back, they said they cut his body up and they said he put himself back together in front of them. They say he was the Christ over there.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that story I did last week?
they kept cutting him up, and he was going right back into one.
Yeah,
Yep,
they say he was like the
just
real
like the
Christ.
Terminator.
They said that he brought the people, these same dragon people, whatever you want to call it, to defend him and fight that army off. And the people
Oh
were
yeah,
so scared they ran. You know what
the
I'm talking?
cherubims, the midgets, and then the
The cherub.
dragons. Yes,
Yep.
yep, the cherubim and the sapphires. Yes, yes,
So this
yep,
sounds like it's talking about the same thing.
yeah. Matter of fact, it's
Hmm.
also in the story of King David too. Mm.
That's why I wanted you to get up here, Copper. I know you know what we talking about. She always be talking about this stuff, especially when it comes to the she could put that timeline with the Bible real good. I be love when sis break that down. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so it says, but the resolving these doubts starts a harder question. Grant that the Americans were by tempest driven thither. How then came the beast thither? It is certain that those whose are beneficial for humane use as dogs for to hunt great cattle, sheep for food, and other necessities, meat easily be carried thither. For so the Spaniards brought cows. So the Spaniards are the ones that brought the cows. I keep telling y'all, horses and pigs, stuff we ain't supposed to be eating. The cows and the horses and pigs and other cattle, and also poultry from Spain. They brought the chickens, poultry, to the new discovered isles, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Margarita, La Dominico. When at their arrival, formerly no four-footed beasts were found there. Oh my gosh. This part right here is hitting deep. This part hitting deep. I don't know if y'all feeling it, but for me, because y'all know how I feel about this
Oh,
weed and all this other stuff. This is literally, this is
because you got to
where,
think, man. Listen, we were herbivores, man. We are herbivores. We are herbivores. Herbivores, not carnivores. Herbivores. Carnivores are meat eaters.
and this in here, this is breaking down too in the Bible how it talks about the what you're not supposed to eat, what's not clean, right? It talks about what's not clean, this and that, blah blah blah. Why is it not clean? Because they know it's not natural. They know it's not supposed to be here. They know it wasn't natural to the lands over here. They brought all this stuff over here. They saying it right here. They brought it. They brought all that stuff over here. And when they brought that stuff over here, that helped to bring all the sickness, diseases, and all kind of stuff over here as well. Because when they brought all these animals and stuff over on these boats, if y'all can remember, you might have to go back. But the video I did the other week, we read in the other book, it was talking about it. They brought the diseases and stuff when they came. They came in the boats with the animals. Y'all know they was having sex, and they was having sex with them. Then they was having the natives start sleeping with these women that they brought over on the boats. They was also having sex with the animals and this and that. That brought all these diseases. They brought all this food, all this other stuff. They talked about how they what do you call it? Polluted the air, polluted all the water, all of that, all of it. They said it. They did it all. They did it all. This is crazy right here. Okay, let me go back and finish reading the rest of this part. So the beasts were found there, whose fertile soil had so multiplied their increase that the dogs running wild and breeding as fast, so great hurt to the grazing herds. So the dogs is what brought a lot of hurt to the herds. All the cattle, all this other stuff they brought over here, everything mixing. They eating the stuff. They pooping everywhere. The animals eating the poop. Ugh, gosh, just the thought of all this shit. Which they only shoot for their skins, leaving their flesh and beast of and the best of meats, only to mature the ground on which they lie. So, boom, check that out. So now they taking the skins, they leaving the flesh of the beast and the meats to mature the ground on which they lay. So they came and brought all these animals, they killing them, taking them for their skin, this, and that, whatever meat they wanted to take. After they did that, what they do? They leave the nasty, disgusting, dry carcasses all on the ground and let them stay there where they lie, so that they go right into the ground and they have all this nasty, disgusting carcass and maggots and all this stuff going into our earth. And they've been doing this forever. This is why the earth is so contaminated, because they got all this foreign stuff over here that's not supposed to be here, first off. And then they have all these things mixing into the soil. And so the soil has picked up all this stuff over all this time. And everything is just no good. I mean, literally, our soil is contaminated. It's telling me right here, they've been doing this shit forever. And this is right in our faces, let you know if none of this stuff is really good. The transporting
Hey,
of...
hold on. I wanted to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bison is not buffalo. Bison is a hybrid. But bison, my son, his baby's mom, they got a farm up there breeding and creating bison. A bison is a buffalo and bull cross.
Mm. A
That's what a
bison is a
bison is.
buffalo and a bull cross.
Yes. Yep, that's a bison. They got farms up here in Michigan where they breeding them and shit in North Michigan, up in Baldwin, in north of Baldwin by Traverse City up there. But my man, yeah, it's elephants and yeah, the motherfucking ancient elephants and all that shit is found all in North America and shit. The panther and the jaguar is indigenous to America. It's a lot of questions. You saying, I mean, I told you, it's better to come up here because people in the back is gonna start questioning the shit that you question.
Right, I'm gonna drop the link for you, bro. You're welcome to come up. I'll drop it again. Anybody's welcome. We definitely just reading this and discovering whatever we can out of it. It says the transporting of same and profitable cattle and might easily be allowed, but who would load their ships with lions, tigers, and bears? Oh my. Who would load their ship with lions, tigers, bears, wolves, foxes, and other serpents and vicarious beasts? It is certain that some may be tamed before they were shipped. So they said they were tamed before they were shipped. Lepidus relates the Heliogobus, the Roman emperor, took great pleasure in in domestic lions and leopards to frighten his guests withal. For with the third court, they were all brought in, and set and fate betwixt the invited man and... I swear reading this book is like pulling teeth for me. It's annoying. I'm trying to get to it though. Let's see. And the beast. The great Cham and Puris Venice and eyewitness attest the rides on hunting attended in couples with tame leopards. The king of Cambodia, in like manner, is served with panthers. So it's just talking a lot about the beast. I don't want to keep going over all of that. Let me see. It's saying something about Prometheus and Noah are the same. Okay, hold on. Let's get to this. Go over. Okay, I think I clicked it. Oh my goodness, come on now. Between this computer and everything going on, guys, I don't know what the heck. Me reading crazy. Let me see. I think I went 2 pages up. Okay, there we go. Nope. There we go. There we go.
Look, why you doing that? Sis, I want to respond to free poo poo. Free poo poo. Yes, motherfucker. Tell me where in Africa they got mountain lions, nigga. Just one question. Where in the fucking Africa they got mountain lions, nigga? Okay, they do. They got them here in America.
Oh, we're saying something about the flood over here in Noah. Okay, hold on. I'm about to go back to this page. Let's see. 2 reasons where people removed from the countries. History generally gives us only 2 accounts why people removed from one country to another, either not or thinly inhabited, whether drive by force or their own accord, so to unburden and give ease to their 2 plethoric countries, whatever that means. Plethoric countries, I'm sorry. Thus, the banished Japanese forsook their native country and settled themselves in a desolate soil. Hence, since a flourishing empire, shining the richest and crowned with slightly cities, so the Batavians took possession of the inhabited isle lying between Rhine and the Whale. I don't know what they're talking about. Being out of Hessen by the civil wars and preserved the memory of the place. From hence, they had the original on the utmost point of the isle. In the village of Kattenwick, for the Hessens formerly went by the name of Catti, or Cassie, it could be. Others that removed did not only fall upon their neighbors, but made away by force of arms, choosing their habitations under temperate climate and in fruitful soil. After which manner the Franks entered the Gaul, and afterwards the Normans set upon France, so that they conquered countries, have ever since uh, conquerors been called France the Normandy. But although it cannot punctually be said how the inhabitants of America moved, yet it is without contradiction that they first found an empty country. What? The opinion which they have themselves concerning it are full of idle fancies. First, they question the original from the flood, which is so well rooted in the memory of of the nations, that the blindest and most ignorant know something of it, though deformedly altered and varied, tracked up with additional fabulous stories. The truth is self known only to us, but to all others lost in oblivion. What the hell? What are they talking about? The question original from the flood, which is so well rooted in the memory of all nations, that the blinded and most ignorant know something of it, though deformedly altered and varied, tacked up with additional fabulous stories, the truth itself known only to us, but to all others is lost in oblivion. That's some BS. Hold on a second. Hopefully this reveals some of this. Who has not heard the Deucalion's flood of the Deucalion's flood? How his wife Peria and he only escaped in a little boat,
Ducaloins. Ducaloins.
Ducaloins. Floyd. I've never heard of that. You know what they're talking about? Have you ever heard of that?
Uh-uh. It could be
So basically,
Ducalions or
this must be the flood, the real Noah's flood, and they talking about this is where the story comes from.
no, it's more than just that flood though. But go ahead.
Okay, but did you hear what they were saying though? They said the story. They said, listen, that's what was confusing. That it was saying in that other previous part that the flood, that people think that the story about the Noah, this, and that. Basically, it was saying there's a real true story about the Noah's flood. We know the real truth, but people don't know. It's a conjured up story that to make them think it's this story that's in the Bible. That's what it was saying. And then it goes to talking about this. So this obviously is the story of that Noah's flood that they made it from, is what it sounds like. And it says, listen, it says it's wife Para, and he only escaped in a little boat. And as Tispheba landed on a mountain, this is what happened with supposedly the Noah story. Landed on a mountain, from his people the world again. And then everybody populated the world again from Noah. So this is the story. So I need to look, let me write this down, because I've never even heard of this before. The Decalion flood. Okay. All right. So by throwing stones backward over their heads. So they said they repopulated the world by throwing stones back up over their heads. Something of this seems to hint the true story of Noah, his wife, and children, from whom the desolated world was replenished. See? The same they relate of Prometheus. Here we go again. Concerning whom those Diodorus Siculus, they say that the Nile breaking through his dams and overflowing his banks drowned all Egypt, especially that part from Prometheus ruled, where all the inhabitants were swallowed by the deluge. None can imagine, but the Diodorus by this makes mention of the particular flood, and not the general one in Noah's time, but the Greeks ascribed all things to their heroes. To the Egyptians, in like manner, did the same to theirs. Therefore, they have of the general flood made a particular one in Egypt, though perhaps it never was. So that what is fabled of Prometheus is nothing but a part of the universal deluge, which the name Prometheus proves, because it signifies sprung from the heaven. And in the same with Noah, whom they hold to be the first father of all mankind since the flood, born of, or regeneration from his wife Aphia, and Aphia signifies earth, or the mother of all things. And so exposes Noah being sprung from God to Aratat, or Ararat, from whence descended the generations of mankind, and by degrees spread over the whole surface of the earth. What you got to say about that?
Ererat. You've entered Ererat. You've entered the Ererat. Ererat, as you pronounce it, right? Now, I was just talking about the oceans. I was just talking about the seas right here in America, that's been retitled with new names many times. You know what I'm saying? And now you're talking about Ererat. You're talking about Bharat, which is changed to India of today.
And it's saying, I think
that's India. Hold on, sis. That's India number 3. Because number 2 is the West Indies. You know where the West Indies at. Right.
All of that, like Jamaica and all in that area. And it's saying right here, that's crazy. It says that the Chinese, here we go, the East Indians, the Japanese, they keep saying the Japanese, the Japanese and other people of Asia and Africa have also some knowledge of very ancient flood, which is true. I've seen all the stories they have, but hoodwinked under many idol Frances, not unlike that which the Americans relate, from whom served I'm sorry, from whom several learned persons find no obscure confessions of the deluge, which thus mystically they have wrapped up. That one Veracocha came out of the great lake Titicaca and settled his residence.
Hold on, stop. Ah, that's Titicaca. That's where my motherfucking
Titicaca.
Andean people come from. The Chokeki Road, the Cherokee of today. The Cherokee of today. The Cherokee of today, the Chokeki people, come from that territory right there that they're talking about. Lake Titicaca is north of Peru, and that's known to be the Chokeki kingdom, right next to the Mayan. We're right below the Mayan and all of them. Go ahead.
Mm. Ain't that something? And it said, and settled his residence upon the Ticonaka. I heard that before. Ticonaka, where yet remain the ruins of ancient walls, built after a wonderful manner. At length, removing from Ticonaka to Cufco, he began to multiply the generations of mankind. Wow, talking about the growth of the nations of that particular tribe. They
Right.
shewed. That's crazy. And this is talking about going back to the tribes of the Noah tribe. So this is see, it's like
The
all the
she
stories.
listen, you listen. They might expose the she people in there, but they ain't gonna spell it XI. But go ahead.
Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Where was I at? Where was I at? Where was I at? Of mankind. They shoot in the aforementioned lake, a small island under which the Americans lay the sun. I'm sorry, in which the Americans say the son saved himself from the flood. The son saved himself from the flood. Wherefore, in ancient times, they they that's a S, superstitiously observed that place, heightening their bloody sacrifices with human slaughter. Lord, okay. Others relate that fixed persons leaped through the hole out of a window, from hence all men were since extracted. And from that new increase, the place, after the inhabitants of the old world were all drowned, got the denomination of Pacara Tampo, and therefore they hold the Tampos to be the most ancient families, from hence Monocopan derived, being the promulgator of the Incas of king or kings, from whom sprung two generations, Hanan Cusco and Urim Cosco. They tell us also that their Incas, when they make war upon any people, say that the occasion, as they pretend, was because all territories are tributary to them, justly from whom they were derived and restored, being the first planters of the New World. So they said they were the first planters of the New World, and with all that the true religion was declared to them from heaven. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. That's where they got that from. That's what that's talking about too, if y'all don't know. This relation, though mixed with fables, shews but very darkly that they have some knowledge of the flood, for who are those six elves that leaped out of the window to replenish
Yeah,
the
it was
generation?
6 people that leaped out the window the
Oh,
first time. But go ahead.
right. Wow, this is crazy. And window of the replenish the generations of mankind, but Shem, Ham, and Japheth with their wives? Question mark, question mark, question mark. The Americans can give but a little better account of their first original, and indeed, it is no wonder, because for want of books, they can relate nothing certain, but only what they have registered in their usual quaca, qua, quapo, Quamagos, Quacapamagos, which is not above 400 years old.
Quipic images,
Quick,
like a picture.
oh, okay. So like the whatever they
Quipic
have on the
images.
walls and all that stuff.
Amagos, yeah, Quipac Amagos is like a pictograph.
Okay, okay. Quick, quick, quick pa amagos. Quick pa amagos. Okay. Acosta, Acosta asking what original they judge. So this is literally talking about they took the story. This trip, just like I was just saying earlier. The stories of everything that was going on, what they did, the stuff they found out, the information they learned from the stories from different people when they came over, They took the stories of history and they transpired this stuff to change it into these Bible stories. And this is what I'm saying. And I don't, if y'all seeing that, tell me if y'all seeing that too, bro. I swear, because this is just tripping me out. Because that's what it's looking like. Is that what y'all saying, or is it just me?
Man.
You there, Jai? Or you done stepped away, bro? I want to know what y'all, if y'all feeling me on this or what. Am I tripping or
Yeah, I'm
No,
are
here.
you
I'm
seeing?
here, man.
What's the name of this book? I'm trying to catch up and figure out what y'all reading. It's called
Okay, bro.
America.
It's called the America. Yep, and it talks about it's an old book, and it's just basically if you even though you came in a little late, bro, it's like everything is showing like everything when they came over here and this and that, all the summations of that stuff. But then to me, it keeps going back to things that proves like the stories of them coming over here, the information they learned, the stuff they learned about, like the antediluvian information, stuff like that. The things they learned from being here, they took that information and transpired it into their Bibles to use against the people. Like, okay, look, this your information because it was familiar to them, but they made these stories. It's like, look, read this. And then when people read it, it was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is just like what we knew. I don't know. It just seemed like it was an
I,
easy
I
way for
think
them
more. I
to
think more
trick
says
people.
that this is more that they're writing on their insight after the fact of all of the stories they read about America. You know what I'm saying? And then they're confirming a lot of stuff, but then they're trying to hold back, knowing what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the information as well, like where we're trying to contradict the Carthaginians, and I don't even mention the Carthaginians to people because a lot of people don't look deep enough. You know what I'm saying? But them motherfuckers are the ones that protected America up to 1700. Shout out to the
They
fucking
mentioned them.
Africans that, yeah, and they African, but they just respected coming to this place to visit and to see how beautiful this place was set up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They trying to not grow out. They trying to knock them out. Okay, let's see. Yep, there you go. He dropped like a hat. Okay, let's see. So yeah, this is crazy though. So you're saying basically, it's not so much of them taking the stories and twisted. It's just that the stories are kind of confirmed with the history that they wrote or something of the sort. It's kind of what you're saying, right,
What
Ron?
they're trying
Because
to do is they're trying to validate. They're trying to use this book to validate their resources and research. You know,
their
their
stories.
resources and yeah, they're trying to validate it with their book. And what it is just also just showing to the people that we're breaking this down to, that all of the stuff we've been confirming. This is a book from 1800, so this is another confirmation on them telling you that Noah and his kids, they all was down there in Peru fucking around when they first got off the boat. So once again, this is the first land out of water, the mama. But that's all I'm saying.
Right. And I want to show y'all this too. Hold on. We gonna put this on pause real quick. We gonna put this one on pause. I'm gonna show y'all this old. They let you back up, bro. Okay, good. I want to show y'all this film real quick.
Oh,
This
hold
tripped
on,
me out too.
hold on. While you pull
Go
that up,
ahead,
sis, let me
bro.
say something real quick. For everybody
Yes.
that's tuning in, you know what I'm saying? This book is called The America. So it's actually talking about the land of America. And what it is it's a lot of foreigners that actually ended up coming here after reading the stories in different books themselves. They try to put a book together and combine all their information of what they tend to notice being here in America. So the book is called America itself, you know what I'm saying? But go ahead, sis.
Yeah. Period. So, yep. Now watch this. We gonna let's look at how they was doing shifting and bringing and needing to get all these damn people into the damn place. Cause this part right here tripped me out too. This right here tripped me out right here. Hold on, y'all. Let me make it large screen. Oh no, not picture in the picture. I ain't do that. Hold on a second. Watch this crazy.
Here we go again. Three name ass nigga.
Closing time, the close of an era. The great big spree, the jazz age, is over. In the 1920s, the great American word was prosperity. Now the 30s have begun, and there is a new word, depression. Little man, what now? Well, you can always sell surplus apples 5 cents a piece on the street corner. And if you're bewildered, panicky at what's happening to you in your country, you aren't alone. One of America's biggest industrialists has openly admitted, I am afraid. Every man is afraid. Prosperity is just around the corner, say the hopeful headlines. But around the corners, lengthening bread lines, and a whole new class of citizens appears in American society, the new poor.
Welfare. This is what y'all see, welfare.
And when private charity can no longer carry footsteps, the new Franklin Roosevelt emergency relief to the unemployed. The same paralysis that lames the cities blights the farms. And out in the country, too, men are asked, what's happening? Farm prices have dropped disastrously, and a man's work no longer brings him a just return. The threat of foreclosure, of losing house and home, spreads through the conservative farmlands, and radical talk is boiling into action. The association organizes to block the low product to the city in an attempt to force prices up. It is. In me, there was a tea party in Boston that was illegal too.
Where all the black people at? We're all blacks.
From all over the country,
Right.
unemployed veterans of World War I march on Washington, 15,000 of them. They demand immediate payment of a cash bonus promised them for the future. They need it now. They want it now. A mob animated by the spirit of revolution, a menace to the nation's capital. Troops disperse the veterans and burn down their shanty settlement.
Lights, camera, action.
Not since the Civil War has such pressure, political, economic, social, centered on the white.
Okay.
In the face of a hostile press and a divided Congress, Herbert Hoover makes unprecedented use of government power to encourage individualism of the American people and in private enterprise.
This my enemy right here, everybody.
Cannot be cured by legislative action. But the basic causes of the deepening crisis remain even summoned to the White House. The explanation offered by humorist Robert Bench.
Causes of the depression, as we called it, overproduction, maladjustment in gold distribution, too little thyroid secretion or plaque disease, too much vermouth, overproduction, and by the same token, underproduction. Then, too, there was the Gulf Stream. All of these helps lead to inflation, deflation, and overproduction, with a consequent depression.
A report from Detroit says men are sitting in the parks all day long, out of work, muttering to themselves. Some succumb to apathy. Some are swept by alarm, and bank after bank across the country is hit by panic withdrawals. New lines appear on American streets. Depositors by the thousands are forced to close. On the eve of the president, it's too late. Banks by the hundreds.
Hey, sis, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, you pause real quick.
Yep, I can hear you. It's just a little delayed because I got the
So we finna break some shit down real quick. This is more than evidence right here. We've been breaking down the people that the pale face or the flesh complected people didn't arrive here by the thousands until late 1880, right? You know, and so now we're watching in the late 1800s going into the 1900s how they were resorping our natural resources. They were living on our farms and what they would call unemployed. Like, hold on, first of all, if you got a motherfucking farm that you just went and took over and you don't know what the fuck to do with it, of course you're going to be unemployed. Why in the fuck would you go and be on a farm that you didn't fucking raise to not know what to fucking do? Now, when you got a farm, you got something to do from motherfucking 5 o'clock in the morning to goddamn the evening. So this right here is a prime example of how they did the hijack, takeover, all the land, unlawful attacks on our properties, and this is what they're suffering from. So go ahead, sis.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. How they came to getting them settled already.
Two, the whole financial system quakes and totters. A bitter electorate of frightened people turns overwhelmingly against the party in power, turns hopefully toward a new national leader, Franklin D. Roosevelt. His campaign promise, a New Deal. His campaign song, Happy days are here again. Franklin Delano Roosevelt on his inauguration day. In the tension and antagonisms of the moment, the defeated president and the president-to-be barely
I would have
speak as they
shot
ride
his
together to
ass.
the Capitol for the swearing-in ceremony. The day is overcast and sullen, shadowed by uncertainty in Washington and throughout the land. For America, something is beginning, and no man can tell. One thing only is certain on the 4th of March, 1933. The old order changeth, yielding place to new. From the 32nd President of the United States in his inaugural address come words that electrify a people desperate for hope and assurance. This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper.
Desperate for
So
hope
first
and
of all, let
assurance.
me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Whatever may be said of him, this the people sense. He is not afraid.
White power! White power!
That night, the new president promptly. The New Deal
Crazy.
begins at once.
Hold
This
on.
nation, he
I want to
asserts,
show y'all
asks
one
for
more. Hold
action
on. This one
and
right here. I
action
can
now.
stop. Hold on. Okay. One more.
Hey, I should have said that
One
shit.
more.
It clipped off.
No.
White power!
I want to play a different. I wanted to show one more. Hold on one
But
second.
y'all notice, man. But y'all notice how everybody at the parade and all of that shit all had the same exact outfit on, jacket, hat, and all of this shit. Y'all notice
Uh-huh.
how when the people was in the line for unemployment, they were by the thousands. All of them had on the same boots, jacket, the denim pant. It's called
The
uniform.
stuff they got when they
So when
got
people,
over here, the uniform.
yep, they followed the uniform code. Ooh, UCC.
Crazy.
You see what I see? Go ahead, sis.
Watch this one. If I'm not mistaken, this was all going on around the same time, right, bro? Because I'm not real good with history, unfortunately. The Nazi camps and all
Yeah, I'm
that was
reading
around the same time.
fast too.
Everything was going on over here, right? That they was just showing around.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, man,
Hmm.
I'm kind of upset that they failed at their mission.
I mean, this one's finna get a look.
It's kind of tricky. Oh, it's kind of tricky on me talking about Hitler because I knew Hitler. I knew Hitler was with the shits, and he knew who the fuck we was. He respected the fuck out of us, like completely on the most highest level. Like he looked at us as the gods and gods and the most high jewels on levels like that. He spoke of it. Like Jesse, like what's his name? Jesse James, the runner and shit back in the 1900s and shit. Like the boxer and all that, man. He respected the motherfuckers like gods.
Actually know now what has been going on in these
camps. I know personally what I'm fighting for.
An early witness of these scenes was Sidney Byrne's division.
It was pretty awful, horrifying sights. People looked more like animals than human beings. Dead bodies all over the smell, stench went for miles. As you get nearer the camp, you could smell it.
Sidney Bernstein was determined that the German people should see the full extent of what he had seen. He wanted to assemble overwhelming evidence of the existence of permanently recorded on film so that these atrocities could never be denied. The war was going on. The Russians and Americans to send film of other camps to add to this British film of Belsen. When this material reached London, it was so shocking and the message it contained so urgent.
Where's the copper colored body at, sis?
A distinguished team of journalists and advisors to help him.
Not one.
Not one of our people, man.
It'd be a lesson to all mankind as well. To the Germans, for whom film that we put together was to show to the German people. Because most of them on our way down had denied they knew anything about us.
They said they ain't know nothing about the camp.
But Bernstein's film was never shown. The British government first encouraged it, then dismissed. In the archives for 40 years. This is the story of that film and why it was never shown. But it's also the story of... We hear what happened before the cameras got there. From those who survived. The film was started while Europe was still at war, to show that the German people were responsible for the growth of the
Hey,
Nazi.
sis, you got a feedback.
It opened with scenes of narrative.
No, you.
Narrative.
Yeah, your mic
The
is
original
on.
film's
Oh,
commentary
let
was
me
never
mute.
recorded, but a script has survived. It's written in the mood of the time and is narrated in the style of the time.
In more 1,296 Germans, 680,000 cast their votes for Democrats, Communists, Christian Socialists, People's Party, and so on. Lack of unity. The National Socialist Party was in power. They made many claims and many promises. The German journey that led seemingly out of chaos to unprecedented triumph. In the spring of 1945, the Allies, advancing into the heart of Germany, came to Bergen-Belsen. Neat and tidy orchards, well-stocked farms lined the way. The British soldier did not fail to admire the place and its inhabitants. At least until he began to feel a smell. It came from a concentration camp, a waste ringed with barbed wire, and coming in from the flowering countryside, in spite of the frightful smell, things didn't seem so bad. Women laughed and went. But Belsen camp was vast, and inside was a different story. They had not eaten for 6 days. Soldiers' stock of food was called into use. Water, too, had been cut off, so the water cart was the most important thing to arrive. Most of the people seemed to be listless, beyond hope and astonishment. hunger that way. We discovered that among the stench of disease and decay was something a bit worse than hunger. Moving vaguely on rickety skeleton legs, they were too ill to eat. How grateful they were for a kindly word or gesture. What missed among such unmentionable filth with to pick the last inevitably swarmed all over them.
There was a girl standing some way back behind the gates, and she had a plea in her eye, and I didn't answer it. I didn't know. She wasn't a beauty, anything like that. She was a good-looking, sensible girl there, an inmate. She couldn't have been in long, otherwise she wouldn't have been in her overcoat and what she had on. And that keeps on coming back as a memory, that girl standing there on her own. And I think I should have done something about it at the time.
Witnessing the liberation was 18-year-old.
I remember somebody said, I think the British are coming. I didn't want to know. However, in the end, I believe my sister dragged me out of the bunk and we were on the ground, leaning against the barrack. By that time, it was summer. Well, it was spring, and it was very warm. And it didn't help the bodies, of course. It was the most unbelievable stench. So we are told by the people who came in, we no longer smelled it. So we sat outside there and just waited for something to happen. And there it was, the loud hailer. You're liberated.
One of the first British soldiers to see all this was cameraman Bill.
They looked at you and didn't register anything. They didn't smile, they didn't cry, they didn't laugh, they did nothing. The expressions didn't change. Their eyes were glazed. And as I say, whether they actually saw you, I don't know. But there was no feeling of elation. We're free. I don't think they contemplated that ever.
This man had died by violence. Huts were almost impossible to go near. They were full of tangled masses of people who had died slowly and painfully of starvation and disease, writhing in agony, helpless in puddles of excrement.
What were conditions in these huts like by this time?
Unbelievable, especially as people died and died and died, and you had to take these out and they piled up, as you've seen in the pictures, and there was no way to remove them even. There wasn't nothing. It was inferno.
Dead prisoners rolled out in twisted heaps. Dead women like statues in the mire. This was what these inmates had to live among and die among. There were numbered not in hundreds, but in thousands, 1 or 2 thousands, but 30,000. Here is a pit where the inmates, in order to earn food, had to drag the bodies of their comrades, but they were too weak to keep up with the rate at which they were dying, so the pit remains only half filled. The SS guards in charge of the camp were carried for examination. Their papers, their status, their authority, each with his death's head badge, each justified by German law. They were unashamed, well-fed, well-dressed, and cheerful. There were women also on guard in Belsen, volunteers who came of their own free will to do their bit. Not sickly pale with hollow faces and hungry eyes, but well-fed and well-kept with a strutting arrogance. The commandant of the camp, Joseph Kramer, was removed for trial as a war criminal by an Allied military court. There was an urgent need to get rid of as many bodies as possible as quickly as possible. So all the SS, 500 Hungarian troops captured with the started on a grave digging operation. The SS themselves were made to do the unpleasant inmates to do. This, after all, was not to be hard. They could kill in cold blood, and it seemed to the British soldier fit and proper that the killers should bury the nameless, hopeless creatures they'd starved to death.
The SS, when we arrived, were very, very arrogant, very smug, very satisfied. They had no compassion for these people at all. They could see nothing wrong in what they. It was very difficult to make them realize the enormity of what they had done. And one way, a very good way, was to make them undo it. And the only way we could do that was to make them personally carry the dead bodies that we hadn't time to bury. These people was done, were being carried to and from the mass graves too slow. They brought in a bulldozer, they dug graves, and they pushed it into the graves. And one of the lasting impressions in my mind, where these bodies had been dragged, these emaciated people had been dragged across the ground. The system they used was to tie rags round their ankles and pull them by the rags. The result was that the hands dragged out and the fingertips left tracks across the sand. And I have a strong memory of a body that had been dragged out in the position of the crucifix and finishing it.
The job of clearing up Belsen was a big one. 7 dreadful days, the funerals still go on. There seems to be no end. The SS are not so spick and span now. 7 days of being shouted and cursed at, the handling of corpses by the 100 are beginning to tell.
Sis, press mute real quick. We gonna finish this shit. This shit right here, it just decoded itself right in front of us, and I don't know if all of y'all caught what's going on, but this shit is so deep, it's right in front of our face. Now, during the times of this motherfucking war, who was the motherfucking jets, and who was the motherfucking goddamn Tallahassee fighters motherfucking flying in the sky? All motherfucking indigenous Americans. So who did this to them? Our people did. Now, when you look at what's going on, why in the fuck, if they won the war, why the fuck they burying the dead of a motherfucking group of people they won the war against? We got to stop looking at this shit the wrong way and see it in reality. These motherfuckers will never tell us that them going to war and America getting involved, it involved our people that was the fighters at the time, from Tallahassee all the way up into Buffalo and New York and all of that. The motherfucking pilots that was flying the jets during these wars was motherfucking copper colored people.
Right.
So what happened to their people? They're burying their dead and they're not saying that. They're blaming Hitler, but nah, Hitler's only making his army bury his motherfucking soldiers that got killed. Think about it. If I was a motherfucking 4-star general and I'm running a motherfucking Malaysian right now, we win a motherfucking war to take over another city and his body's left behind. Matter of fact, y'all gonna clean up our homies too that got, matter of fact, bring the bodies where we need y'all to bring them because pretty much y'all under POW at that point. Why would I send my soldiers out to pick up your dead people that we just kicked y'all ass and took over your territory? Shit tricky right in front
But
of our
these are the
face.
people in the camp. What you saying? What you saying, bro? You don't believe that the people were actually in the camp? That was just an excuse to. What are you saying?
The camps happened due to starvation, due to the motherfuckers really involving. See, at the time of the World War II, America wasn't even involved. Well, now I'm gonna say the American people wasn't involved. The United States government ended up getting a motherfucking contract, kind of like a motherfucking hit job, to go over there and get involved in this shit. And guess who they sent? They sent the motherfuckers that can get there the fastest. How you gonna get there the fastest? By air. And who's flying the motherfucking fighter flights and shit? The copper colored people. That's why they made movies about our people being the motherfucking best in the sky fighting during these times. This shit was real.
Thanks. Right,
And,
bro.
and a lot
Imagine being
and shit
starved.
like that. Shit they showing right here.
Shit.
You know how they do those commercials when they say, yeah, just donate $12.99 a month.
Right.
These animals need it. They're starving. They're being beaten and whooped, and they showing the worst animals that they got in the little motherfucking goddamn dog clinic and shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this shit right here is a lot of, like one of the brothers in the back said, that it's like a pandemic, like a real breakdown. If motherfuckers is losing the war, all they people is in camps, them motherfuckers, yeah, they gonna get sick. It's gonna be some shit go around. Motherfuckers gonna die.
Makes sense
And
to
why
me.
was they always saying? Why was they always saying that Hitler was killing all of them motherfucking Jews that was white with pale face with the blonde
Right.
hair and blue eyes?
Right.
Okay. Think about it.
Right.
It's all a twisted story.
It's always the
Tory.
backwards story.
It was a Tory. It was by the Tory people. Another S Tory. See, look at this motherfucker. He didn't just die no month ago. That
Them
body
people
he
been dying.
carried,
They've been starving for a long time.
that motherfucker was dead. Yeah, that motherfucker was dead damn near 8 months before this nigga coming and removing him. And then think
Right.
about the
His
smell of a
body
dead
started to
body.
disintegrate.
Right. So look, think of the smell. See, I don't know if anybody in the back chat has smelled of a dead body before. Guess what? You will actually vomit smelling
Oh
this
my
shit. I
gosh,
mean,
I
the
have
shit
a
is worse than rotted eggs in
yeah.
Vegas desert. It stinks so bad. And then these motherfuckers walking around and it's 30 and 50 of them. Come on, man. You wouldn't be able to the
Look, he just
stitch
got him
itself.
hanging on the back and shit. Just like,
Yeah, he got him with the right arm wrapped, hugging his stomach and shit, naked skin and shit. Like, come on, man, I'm gonna just throw this body over here. Let's go.
let's go. Let's get it.
Look, just look how they just look at this. They just it's like it's nothing. No mask on their face,
The
nothing. No
burgomeisters and
breathing
civil
shit.
officials of the neighborhood
Shit
see
gross.
the scheme of things. This was not what they expected. It had been happening for years, but they shrugged their shoulders and tried to say it had been none of their business. But they were mostly silent.
First of all, the municipal burgomaster and the like, who live within a reasonable range, saw what was being done. Some of the Germans we brought in to be filmed when the bodies were being buried in the pit just couldn't look anymore. I wanted to prove that they had seen it, so there was evidence, because I guess rightly that most people would deny that it happened.
Yeah, that's a plague.
They were given
You don't
an
see,
by a British
you don't see no
officer through
bullet
a
shot
loudspeaker
and shit
van.
through no bodies.
What you will see here is such a disgrace to the German people. And yet it makes it even more difficult to tolerate. You, who did not rise up spontaneously to cleanse the name of Germany. You must expect to atone with toil until you have reared a new generation, instinctive goodwill to
Meanwhile, back at the camp, those who were still living were being attended to. Supplies of hot soup were prepared, and those who could eat unaided were fed as quickly as possible. There had been no water supply for 6 days. The Germans pleaded it had been cut. We laid on water in a few hours, and before 12 hours had passed, had sufficient to enable them to wash. Inmates thought there was a snag at first, expected to be beaten for going near it probably. But when they learned that the hot water had delighted in being dirty. Lax. To get rid of typhus, one must first get rid of lice,
I
so
see where
contaminated
Hitler was
patients were
going
removed from their
to.
huts and put through a laundry process. Over them, and they were washed clean, wrapped in blankets, and removed in clean ambulances by teams working in relays in a miracle of relief work.
You know, they had seen a thing or through a wall, but I don't think anybody could worst dreams anything like Belsen. And of course, the natural reaction was to, and that was another disaster because people started eating and died because of eating, because we weren't used to eating. And unless that was so thousands of people died after the liberation.
Clothes were another urgent problem, so an outfitting department was set up, and clothes gathered from shops in the surrounding towns were soon being tried on and gossiped over, as women love to do. There were more than 200 children under 12 years old found still alive in Belsen camp. To those children,
Orphans.
clean, dry clothes and kind words from a stranger were strange, undreamed of, mysterious things. Some had been born behind barbed wire. In what circumstances one dare not try. Here, perhaps. or here, or down here in this pit. Who they were, or from what homes they were torn, whether they were. We only know they were born. They suffered and died in agony in Belsen camp. And so they lie, Jews, Lutherans and Catholics, indistinguishable, cheek to cheek in a common grave. The living have been taken to a cleaner place. The typhus-infected huts are set afire. Goes down. The striped livery goes with it.
Lice, Black Plague, all of that shit. And I see what they doing, sis. I see the whole big picture. Like I was saying, like Hitler was trying to get rid of the blonde hair, blue eyed people, right? You notice that in y'all see these pictures. Look at the pictures of the people over there that was going through the shit that's controlling the camps. They dark haired people with dark eyes because Hitler started realizing them motherfuckers is hybrids even more than we are.
When you see not one blonde-haired, blue-eyed person.
Do not imagine that this was the only
Not
black
one.
spot uncovered in Germany. There were over 300 others.
We now know that there were more than 5,000 such camps. To show that Belsen was not unique, the film included scenes from different camps of the shocking range of atrocities the Allied troops had found.
Hey, we got an echo,
No
sis.
German can say he did not know about them. The whole world had heard of Dachau, for it was publicized by the Nazis as a model camp ever since its inception way back in 1933. Here, as at Belsen, men knew hunger, men became. In Hut 13 is recorded, for example, 72 deaths within 20.
Some of them niggas had all black eyeballs.
Ready to unload this one. They went away, leaving the prisoners to die of hunger and cold and typhus. We found them like this, frozen stiff in the snow alongside a public. Some miracle, 17 men were still alive. All the rest, about 3,000, were dead.
American troops, incensed by what they found, immediately executed 122 SS guards.
Broken down.
Said gods? Oh, okay.
This was the center of the huge armaments. 1945.
In April 1945, there had been 8
laborers here. But a few
Germans.
At least 600 Jewish deaths reported. People were.
Man, they dropping some jewels on the low. I hope everybody in the back chat is paying attention. They dropping some jewels. Even the people talking. My man said, yeah. He said, yeah, they killed 126 people that the American military people consider to be gods. Like, is people hearing what they saying? This is 1940 people. This shit deep.
Right.
And look, shout out to my little brother.
Belly with slave numbers and forced
Little brother.
People were
Did you hear just
systematic.
slave numbers?
All this seems
slave
so remote
numbers
from beyond
across their belly. Did y'all hear?
The behavior of man.
Mauthausen.
Had died here since the beginning of the year.
New identities for all of those bastard kids and all of those orphans.
Here, the gas chambers held 200 at a time, and the crematorium dealt with 300 per day.
You see how sick these people is?
Tekla.
In the outskirts of Leipzig, an effort was made to prevent 300 forced workers in a factory from being set free by advancing Allied troops. In a mess hut and burned.
That's arson.
People with sick animals.
Why do you think it's over 400,000 copper-colored indigenous people go missing a year since 1983?
It still smoldered when the American troops arrived. This man was shot because he gasped for air trying to escape while the rest of him burned in the barn.
Sidney Bernstein started collecting thousands of feet of film shot by British, American, and Russian army cameramen. He set out in a 9-page memorandum his intentions for the film. It was to be
factual and documented to the nth degree. It should be in the form of a prosecuting counsel stating his case. Of importance that German audiences see the faces of the individuals directly responsible. Effort should be made to secure the names and personal background of all persons thus shown. Attempting to
ID theft.
So I'm 58 years old.
Look how dirty he is.
I was just working I was working in the cave and I just heard an explosion and I came up and I seen all these bodies.
They bullshit, man. They need to let the video play. I ain't seen a brown body yet. Hey, sis, we don't got no sound. I was about to ask you that too. Well, ask Peter Tanner,
Most
film.
people
It must be the intro. Give it
themselves should believe that this was true and that really
Y'all can't hear it. I can hear
horror
it.
had happened and people had suffered to that extent.
I
And
can hear it
remember
now.
him strolling up and down the street
Okay.
carriages.
Soon as you press mute, it go quiet again.
It is.
Straight to the bodies and corpses, so it couldn't be suggested that we were faking the film. One of the suggestions was
I can hear it now.
a
Keep it like that.
montage of people who died or sent to the gas chamber, and they were pathetic things, wedding rings and children's toys and handbags and brooches and all that sort of thing.
Here were found 820,000 pairs of boots and shoes. Prisoners paid their own fare to Majdanek. They thought they were going to new homes, and so they brought their most precious portable possessions.
Yeah, just gonna wait in this door right here.
Human hair, carefully sorted and weighed.
Damn. Hair sorted and weighed so they could sell the shit. Ugh. Fucking animal.
Hell yeah, make wigs.
Mm-hmm. And the teeth.
Look,
Look.
and reselling teeth. Gross.
Oh
Man.
my gosh.
Byproducts of the system. Toothbrushes, nail brushes, shoe brushes, shaving brushes. If 1 man in 10 wears spectacles, how many does this heap represent? All these things belong to men and women and children, like ourselves, quite ordinary people from all parts of the world.
Hitchcock's other main contribution was to insist on the use of shots of charming German countryside as a contrast to the horrors of the camps.
His idea was to show the area surrounding each camp and show how people had led normal life outside, whether they were ill or whether they were harvesting, whether they were on the lakes, completely ignoring what was happening within a range ranging from 1 to 5 miles.
Epensee is a holiday resort in the mountains. Clean and pure, it cures sickness. And there is a sweetness about the place, a gentle
It
peace.
cures sickness. What the
In
hell
this
did he
place,
just say?
Luftwaffe or SS Panzer
Because
officer
they can breathe without smelling fucking plagues in the air.
Is that the Fountain of Youth? He said it cures sickness. Where the hell they at?
Prisoners at Dachau and Buchenwald dreaded being sent
Buchenwald.
here. To them, this place did not mean recuperation.
Oh my gosh.
Tuberculosis through slavery and an and finally left to cough one's life out
Yeah,
unaided
bitch,
and
we talking
crowded,
about y'all fucking
the filth
ancestors.
and
Get your
stench
ass
of
out
a
of here.
hut unfit for dogs, but for some reason called a hospital.
Bye, cracker.
Able to see the mountain, but what use without food?
Dang. Oh my gosh. Oh, oh.
Here, put a shirt on. Take a picture.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
That's how they
Hold
sound.
on now. We might have to fast forward. I don't want no problem.
A collection of bodies was disposed of through this chimney.
Through the chimney, they dispose of the bodies. What the hell?
He wanted to know whether the Germans
All right,
surrounding
sis.
the concentration camp
knew about it. Drawing circles, 1 mile from the camp, 2 miles from the camp, 10 miles from the camp, 20 miles from the camp. What population in each of these areas and wing? Then did they know about it? So on. Which would have been part of the film, showing it to them at the end to say, well, now you live there.
German Weimar. They had to see too, to see what they had been fighting for and we had been fighting against. Years to a chamber of
By the
horrors.
plethoras.
Hey, hold on.
Ton of
Hey, you heard that? You heard what he said? What we're fighting against. Okay, them or they and we are fighting against. See, the person that's talking is different than the Germans.
Was dead.
He's claiming.
And made it to them, etc.
Right, Ty, say that. Yeah, the Spanish flu, sis, that's the second one. There was another one 100 years before that. I forgot the name of it. Every 100 years they have an epidemic. It's like literally like it's plotted. I keep telling y'all, all this shit is the storybook. We can go over 20,000 damn things. It all boiled down to the book they write.
For the site and were assisted by ex-prisoners. They had been aware of the camp and willing to make use of the cheap labor it provided, so long as they were beyond smelling range of it.
Yeah, I wonder what happened in December. They said they were supposed to revitalize Walt Disney. He was frozen. In December, they were supposed to bring him back to life. I ain't hear nothing else about it, grassroots. I see what you wrote. Is that the end? Oh, I didn't even see if that was the end of the video or not. I think that is the end. Yep. That shit was crazy, though. That like told a lot, bro. I just want to hear your insight. Anybody want I'm just...
This video right here was just a determination to let you know that our people are different than their people, and this is what happened to our ancestors. So I'm sorry to show you these videos, but this is what happens when white on white crime happens. Oh man, that shit was loaded.
Film could only show the camp liberated.
Oh, see, we got more,
I think
man.
it was a little more, but we just...
Of all faiths.
That was pretty much it. What you say, bro? I ain't hear what you said.
I say you can let the rest finish out, but you know it's kind of making me lose my appetite a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty much enough. It's just amazing to me how most of the stuff that we see or we don't know all the information on it, we always can get some new information out of it. Let me say it like that. There's always something else to undig or uncover. We was kind of talking about that earlier, right? I was bringing this up because I looked at this earlier. This was, I don't know. Now, bro, this thing is hard to read. I don't know if you want to read because I swear I'm about done with reading right now. But if you feel like it, I would like to pull up something else that we could, check out when it comes to the Soviet atomic bomb project. I don't know if that's interesting or not because of what we were talking about. But if you want to read, if not, we could continue on and, but I did want to kind of look at it. I just don't feel like reading, but I'll be honest. But it says it's talking about this was like around 1942 with the Soviet bomb. So I just had some information on that I thought was interesting. But there's a couple of actually, let me go back to this.
It was fighting against
what you were saying during the video. Mm-hmm.
They was twisted up in some shit too. That's why you noticed earlier when they said, yeah, America and Russia,
Right. That's why I was saying
that. Yeah. So the war part of it, you know what I'm saying? Our copper colored people was in the pilot seats, man, flying them jets and shit, fucking their ass up. You know what I'm saying? So what it is though, what I noticed what was going on is that I was seeing that these pale-faced motherfuckers, it's pretty much a Khazar against the Ashkenazi. And people got to see it that way. You know what I'm saying? So the Khazars and the Ashkenazi been at war for millennials. Yep, that's why I was saying Hitler was trying to kill off the blonde-haired, blue-eyed motherfuckers. Those are the motherfucking Ashkenazi Jews. The Jews you see today are what? pale face, blonde hair, and blue eyed. You see
Yeah,
some
but
dark eyed and
none of
dark
them
haired.
people we seen was pale face, blonde hair, or blue eyed,
No,
right?
not even. And
No.
see, that's what I was saying is like the military, the motherfuckers was dark haired. All the women taking the showers and shit was dark haired, dark eyed and shit. It's kind of like a psyop. You motherfuckers ain't as human as we are. I was kind of seeing it on that angle too.
Well, right, right.
You connected to blind hair, blue eyed people, we're coming to get you and snatching you up too. You got some of that morph blood. You're more morphed than we are. We can steal your identity in your land and conquer this whole territory.
Hmm.
Then that lice part that Yo's brought up, man, that part stood out to me instantly and shit. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers having lice breakouts and shit. Like,
Yeah.
who do you think get lice to this day? You know what I'm saying? Lice, color folk really don't get lice unless you just let you just
It's
a
the
mix.
oil.
Yeah.
You said this said look up that Spanish flu. So yeah, that Spanish flu. You want to hop up here, sis, and talk about that real quick? Let me see. Let me drop the mic again for her. Um, yeah, because I'm gonna pull that up. And she said something about. She said the Asgardians and the custodians. Oh,
Yeah. Come on up here, sister Issa mindset. Oh, that's the brother.
yes, yes. Come up, sis. Come up. Let me see.
Mindset,
I'm
get up
trying to
here.
find
He's a
another.
mindset.
We got a little bit more time if I get out of here. Let's see.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here too. My son did downloaded that 2K22 basketball on his little box, and he came down and warned me. Yo, it's downloaded that. All right, I give
Uh
me a
oh.
couple minutes. It look, you know how that be and shit. You know the adult that don't play games go around. You gotta know how to hold your tongue in it and get your ass kicked on every game that's being played. So you know.
Yes. Yes, bro. So yeah, I got this. I'll probably get into this tomorrow. This a little more other stuff kind of goes off topic. But since you wanted me to pull up, you wanted to tell the what is it again? The Spanish flu. I'm pulling it up now. My internet acting slow as usual. But yeah, they do this every 100 years. They have a new pandemic. Before the Spanish flu was another one. I can't think of what the name of it was. It was the same thing. They had the people wearing a damn mask and all.
Yeah.
Um,
And everybody, we're gonna end up doing a bill on the lion dragon. So you guys get a chance, look up the lion dragon. And that's it's different than just a dragon. It's a lion dragon. The food dog. Or the food dog. Just look up the food dog. FOO dog. Food dog. Me and sis gonna go in on that, you know what I'm saying? The food dog is it's a powerful, you know what I'm saying, realm being, I would say. You know what I'm saying? A being from a realm that's, you know, that's gonna end up being displayed probably in people's face.
right. I'm about to. I found. Okay, since I'm bringing it up real quick. Where is? Okay, here. And yeah, they have these pictures right here. Same thing showing the freaking mask and all nonsense. It's all every 100 years. It was a pandemic, planned pandemic. They had one in 1818 too.
Yeah. And also, I mean, we're gonna do a build one day on the dates of the mud flood occurrences too, so people can understand. Like
Get
it
a
was
month.
two, yeah, it was two different ones. It was one in the 1800s, and there was one also in the 1600s too.
You shit sick. And they just be playing with people. It's always the same thing. It's always some type of flu. Influenza.
Yeah, we gotta start seeing those as plandemics instead of pandemic.
Pandemic. Exactly what they are.
Well, yeah, we can get back to the grizzly later. You know what I'm saying? I do got to take care of son upstairs and shit. And I know you got to take care of the baby
Yes,
girl.
bro. Thanks for
So,
coming up. Appreciate you.
no,
Appreciate you too, John Bricks. You listening, bro. I don't know if he was doing something, but he got kicked out twice. He came back up and still kicked him out. But yeah.
yeah, man. They've been tripping on these frequencies, man. We've
Appreciate you
been
coming
going
through,
in
bro.
deep anytime, man. We got more to build on. But shout out to the chat room. Peace to the gods and goddess. You know what I'm saying? Boys on hustles. Always here to just share information.
Right. I appreciate you, brother. You good with that history stuff. I'm not real great with it. So I'd be liking to have somebody up here to help me like know, like if I don't know what they're talking about or you know. So I really appreciate you and your patience with me because some of this is like, I'm
I'm
just
that.
learning.
I'm like the shadow sniper.
Oh, you
That's
can't
why I
hardly get
just
up easy,
back.
sisters. You can get up easy. Mm-hmm. I'm glad, darling. Glad you guys are enjoying it. So I'll just read some. Sis says she can't get up, so I'll just read a little bit of it, just for anyone that is not familiar with this. In 1918, a new influenza virus emerged. During this same time period, World War I was taking place. The conditions of World War I, overcrowding, and the global troop movement, it helped that the 1918 flu had spread. So the vulnerability of healthy young adults and the lack of vaccines and treatments created a major, you hear that, vaccines and treatments created a major public health crisis causing at least 50 million deaths worldwide, including approximately 165,000 in the United States. Below is a historical timeline of the major events that took place during this time period. The influenza historical timeline is here. There's a 2009 H1N1 influenza pandemic timeline, so on and so forth. June 1917, the draft is established to increase that number of the soldiers that are being involved. Remember, they were talking about having the troops coming out, da 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 da. So they did the same thing. Oh, we're gonna have the troops. We gotta have the troops to do it, and all this nonsense. This is mandate, da 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 da, all this other stuff. First mention of it appears in the April the 5th Weekly Public Health Report. The report informs the officials that 18 severe cases and 3 deaths in the Haskell, Kansas as area. This was in 1918. So this is what it looked like, kind of like, they didn't have the setups that we have in the hospital, but this is the same thing. So yeah, something else. The pandemics, the pandemics. Yeah, peace, love, y'all. It's been almost 2.5 hours. Trying to get through that book took the longest time. Lord, that thing had my tongue twisted, mind going topsy turvy. But yeah, I'm about to get out of here, guys. I really, really, really appreciate you guys for coming through. I'm glad that you guys did enjoy this information. The video, just opening our minds and letting us see different things and, look through and pick up boulders of lies and be able to penetrate through the bottom of those things and see the information for what it is. So thank you guys for coming through. We will be able to do this again in the next couple of days. I don't know tomorrow, so if I'll have time to. But there's so many things I want to talk about and bring to y'all information to your forefront so you can at least check it out yourself, see what's going on, look at stuff, so on and so forth. Dig deep, shoot, maybe bring me stuff. I mean, y'all, a lot of people send me information in my email. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't had a chance to cover that people have sent me, but it's only because there's so much stuff to cover. There's so many things that I haven't even taken care of or had the time to go into with you guys. But I'm doing the best that I can. There's only so much time in the day, and I don't like to deal on too much of anybody's time, not even my own. So it is what it is. But peace, blessings, love, and all, guys. You guys make sure you guys hit my email if you have a business. Sister Soul Main Radio. Let me put it in the chat. Oh. All right, guys. So yeah, hit my email, guys, if you have a business, so I can list it in our information pool. We're getting something going with this business. You will be linked into some private conversation on things that are going on, so on and so forth. So make sure you guys get back to me on that if you're interested. Hit my email for any involvement that you want to have in this BBB, and we'll be talking about that and having a meeting in the next 2 weeks. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Star Soul Main Radio. Make sure you tune in each and every Sunday and Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we are out. Peace, love, blessings, and everything.